Welcome to the Brew. Today, Molly and I are interviewing Trey Lazzara from Tradier. This is the future of futures. So Tradier has a new offering, and we're going to learn all about it from our man, Trey. Let's get to it and the opening bell. I still like the music. I can hear it.
Me too. That's good.
You got it?
Yeah.
I think it needs to be louder. I don't know. We'll get Max on that one. Right, Mom?
All right, we're on it.
We're on it. Okay. Hey, Trey, how are you?
Hey, Trey.
I'm great. Glad to be here.
Thanks for coming on. So real quickly, Trey is, I don't know what your official title is. He's kind of like the god of futures at Tradier. Tradier's never had futures. We're going to let him tell you all this. But now we do, at least it's not open yet, but here we go. So Trey, tell us a little bit about yourself and then kind of the walk up to Tradier futures.
Sure. Yeah. So officially my title is SVP of futures, but I'm the head of futures at Tradier. I went to school at the University of Texas, got a degree in economics.
How do I do that? Hook 'em horn?
Yeah.
Is that right? Is it these two fingers?
I think that's the heavy metal, but there you go.
From Merrill Lynch. It's Merrill Lynch.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
With a degree in economics. Then I was a computer consultant for a few years and then transitioned to work for a trading floor out in California, Irvine, California.
Mm-hmm.
And started out on the tech side. It was, pre-great internet. And so we had direct lines to the New York, the NASDAQ, Amex. And so we had a trading floor, which was the main part of the business. We had some remote customers as well, but, it was kind of like wild times. The technology didn't work great, but learned a lot. Got to sit next to some, excellent traders.
Mm-hmm.
And they all left stocks and options and transitioned to futures. And so that really piqued my interest. And, I was like, I don't want to get left behind. So I started to learn more about it and, eventually became, registered as a broker, a futures broker. And then I worked for another brokerage firm shortly thereafter, heading up their technology. And then started they weren't that interested in the futures business or, weren't that familiar with it. So they allowed me to start my futures company. And so that was back in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that for a few years. And then I've been running Trade Pro since, on my own since 2007 about.
Okay.
And then, probably, 6 months ago, started talking with the CEO of Tradier and, was interested in adding futures adding, multiple asset classes, including futures.
Okay.
And, now we're here. We're getting close to a launch.
Cool. So, Molly, real quick.
Yes.
Do you know anything about futures? And don't say something about shopping or anything like that, because I know what you're thinking.
I'm going to twirl my hair for all the beginners in the world and say I don't get it. So give us a brief example of futures.
Yeah, and let me just say first, Trey. Most, the Tradier community obviously knows options and stocks and that sort of thing. That's the main offering, right? So they're adding futures here very shortly. It's another asset class, clearly different from the options and stocks. Now we're going to talk about options on futures in a sec, but tell us a little bit. What's the difference? Why now? Why are we adding futures? What's the goat?
Why does it act more like a stock? Why do you think it's an easier methodology to get into the market?
What if he thinks it's harder? Then what?
I know it could be right. And then why is, if volatility is low, why jump into futures?
So the couple things. So the options, I think, is much more difficult. There's a lot of strategies and that sort of thing. But futures is very much like stocks in that it's just, you're just playing a direction. There's no strategy. You're just buying that commodity or product and then, or selling it. So one of the advantages in the futures is that you can buy, you could sell just as easily as you can buy. There's no difference in margin requirements or anything like that. But I would say that I was, by the time I had left my first job on the trading floor, I was the number 2 equity trader at that firm. And then
Wait, sorry, pause. Just say that one more time because that was really cool.
So
you were
as I mentioned, I started out as a tech guy, but I sat next to our high volume traders because those were our high revenue generators or scalpers.
Mm-hmm.
And so day after day I would sit next to them hours per day. And so one day I'm sitting next to one of the guys and he did something and I was like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. And then I had a light bulb moment, like, oh, you can do this. And so I started saving up some money to learn how to trade. And then by the time, so I always tell people nobody just makes money right from the beginning, from the first trade. But I was different.
By the way, so sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
We all have these beginner stories of how we all got into trading. And I literally had this really cool X5 BMW. I sold it for Max and I to pay for our education. And we were like, just put it all in the education. I think we'll go this way. But I love the beginner stories of how we get in.
Yeah. So in watching, a successful trader is, one of the best ways to do that. And so, I was very fortunate. I didn't even know, how lucky I was at the time, but so I saved up some money and was able to, start trading, profitably, pretty much from the outset. And, it worked out great. I was able to buy my first home in California with the trading proceeds. And so,
wow.
Yeah. So it worked out really, really great. But the reason why I say that is I started out as a stocks trader. And we had screens off to the right where we could look at the futures markets. It just had, the S&P, it had the NASDAQ, the Dow, and the Russell. And so we would kind of, use those as confirmation. So I was already used to looking at futures contracts. And really the mechanics of it is very, very similar to equities. You're it's always buy low, sell high. Just sometimes you do it in the reverse order. But it's very, very. If you can buy Tesla and sell Tesla, you can buy the S&P futures and sell the S&P futures. It's mechanically very, very similar.
Cool. So did you trade? So you didn't do any options at all?
I did some options at the second brokerage firm because we were developing software. We were developing equities and option software.
Okay.
And so I also led that team. We had a team of developers in the U.S. and a team in India, and I kind of guided the feature sets, based on customer feedback and things that I had learned from other platforms. So, but I would say I wasn't a sophisticated options trader. I was trading very directionally. So I would pick things that, like there would be some very, high moving stocks that are, in high dollar stocks that were way too volatile for me to trade the equity. But I could, trade something with like, a 50% delta or something and kind of slow it down, but still trade, directionally.
Sure.
But I wasn't doing, any, condors or any type of spreads. Or
did you know an iron condor can't fly? A little joke inside Tradier, by the way. So okay, so tell us, tell us a little bit about Tradier's futures offering. And if you can include some pricing, I know maybe not yet, but some ideas there. You mentioned margin. I want to touch on the tax advantages or disadvantages if they exist. And I think we're going to launch options on futures as well, right? And then I'll have questions along the way. So, pricing, margin, tax advantages, coming soon. I'm not going to hold you to it. I know that. I've seen this movie before. Trust me.
Right. So it actually is coming soon. So, that's exciting. But yeah, we're going to have a couple of different pricing packages. One will be for, probably the less active trader. And then we'll have a $35 pro plan where you can get, half 50% off your commissions.
Oh, okay.
So in that rate will be, one of the lowest in the industry
Nice.
for e-minis and micros and all the products that we offer.
Okay. Will we, I keep saying you, like you and I, we work for the same place, right?
Yeah.
Will we offer futures on any crypto sort of things?
Yeah. So we'll have Ethereum and Bitcoin futures, and we'll have on a couple of different exchanges. So we'll have that on the
nice
point on CME, which is the big one.
Mm-hmm.
CME has just eclipsed. I think it was. I don't know if it was Coinbase, but just became the largest crypto exchange for Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And then we'll also have Coinbase derivatives. So they'll have a couple different Bitcoin and Ethereum.
So,
products,
right? By the side door process, we're kind of going to be able to offer crypto too, in a way. We're not going to have wallets or anything like that, but you can trade futures which mirrors the crypto space. So, my feeling is, why do we need to trade the actual, hard crypto when you can trade the future on it? It's way better.
That's a cold wallet discussion. Some are
cold
diehard cold walleters. So Gensler just said, has said that Bitcoin is now a commodity, but I do know that so you can trade futures up. So what do you think the regulations going from here? What do you think? I know there's some concerns with the SEC on that and putting some tighter regulations, but can they?
Yeah, no, I think they can. It's just, I think, there's kind of a turf war between the SEC and the CFTC on, who's going to get, regulatory authority over the other altcoins.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know how that's going to, I don't know who's going to win that battle. I mean, it seems to tilt in favor of the CFTC, but, I can definitely see the SEC's arguments.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's a tough call. That's a tough call. I can't say. Yeah.
Whenever, I hope I don't get in trouble on this. Whenever the SEC and FINRA is involved, it's a tough call.
Yeah.
Just say it. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love my friends at the SEC and FINRA. Don't pretend I didn't say that.
Yeah.
Clip, cut.
Cut. Okay. So.
I didn't fully answer your previous question. So,
sorry, go ahead.
Tax advantages. So, even though virtually all futures is traded on a short-term basis, like an S&P contract, for example, expires within 3 months. They trade quarterly.
Mm-hmm.
But from a tax perspective, 60% of your gains are taxed at the long-term rate, which caps out. I'm not an accountant. Don't take my word for this, but I think that caps out at 15%. And the rest is, the short term. The 40% is taxed at your normal short-term rate.
Yeah, ordinary income, right?
Ordinary income. Yes.
It's a great little thing we have in the trading business. They have an index options on the option side. They have it futures. It's beautiful. I love it.
And it's not capped at the 3,000 capital loss limitation per year, which is pretty nice.
That's pretty good,
nice.
Mal.
I feel like I'm selling steak knives. I'm like, and on the red, it comes with, right? And we also have tax benefits. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Ready for the tough questions now?
Sure.
There's no tough questions.
Yeah.
So I think I know the answer to this, but I want to hear you say it. you're not going to be able to, or are you going to be able to cross margin futures with SPX option products? I think the answer is no. At least,
right. So initially, no. That could be something that occurs, later on down the road.
Okay.
We're kind of in some interesting discussions that we can't really talk about yet, but that's something that we're would love to do.
Okay, good. And then let's talk platforms. Now I know Tradier's platform, which was formerly called TradeHawk, is now called Tradier Pro. That will be available for futures trading because I saw demos of it today. It's looking great.
Very
There's
cool.
7 or 8 other platforms that are third-party integrated platforms at Tradier that are going to be available to use, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's going to be some platforms where you'll be able to connect simultaneously to the Tradier API and also your futures account. So you'd at least be able to trade, both accounts on the same platform.
Got it.
Then we're going to have, plenty of, future specific platforms that are available. But as you mentioned, there's probably 8 or so, probably some I didn't see.
Sure.
That already connect to the Tradier API,
right?
And will also the futures.
Okay. And from what I understand too, you're going to have a futures account and options stock account, right? They're not going to be simultaneous. So you're going to have to open up the platform separately, I think, at least in the start.
Right. So that's going to be the case. Yeah. Well, there will be we're working on an easy transfer of funds from one account to the other.
And why is that? And call me blonde, but why is that? Is that because the margin requirements are different? Margins are requirement on futures are much lower, or does that have nothing to do with
it? You're not too far off. It's more of there's a couple things. One is regulatory wise, the funds are held differently. We have in futures we have what's called customer segregated funds. So it's held a little bit differently. We don't have the same it's not SIPC protected. It's just there's different ways that they ensure the safety of funds.
So you bring that up. So speak on and I might be jumping ahead, so I apologize. I interrupt too much. I'm working on it. The pattern day trading rule is so much different. So there's a nice umbrella there for futures.
Yeah. So options have a pattern day trading rule. Trey, go ahead and explain that versus what.
Yeah.
If at all, does it? I don't think it exists on the future side. But go ahead, tell us about PDT.
Yeah, so great point. So one of the great advantages of trading futures is there isn't that rule, the pattern day trading rule. There's no $25,000 minimum account requirement to be a day trader, and funds are your margins given back to you as soon as you close the trade. So there's no T+3 or.
Oh, nice.
Any type of long settlement. It's done all
settlement's instant, right? Well, instant meaning when you're out of the position, it's the next day you're ready to roll again, or is it intraday?
Intraday. So you could trade with the $5,000 account, you could trade hundreds of times per day.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So the pattern day trading is an interesting rule that I'm not going to get into because I'll start throwing things. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. And did I just say that? I just hit the bell and I said that. But it is a stupid rule. It is actually counterproductive to what it's trying to do. But another story, another tale. Well, that's great to know. Platforms, pricing we talked about. Margin we know about. We know that it can't be cross-margin, Mal. Okay, that's no good. We can't do that. But that's okay. That's okay. Options on futures. Did we talk about that?
We haven't. So that's going to be that will be available, but it's going to be at first. It'll be kind of like a case by case, basis.
Yep.
But that's going to, be we're working on a robust solution where we can, offer it,
sure,
company wide. But the other thing I wanted to mention is there's a lot of, some of the most popular products in options are also some of the same, most popular products in futures.
Sure.
So, S&P, for example, SPY and SPX options are, incredibly popular.
Right.
Same with futures. So a lot of the products that you're used to trading in stocks, there's probably a futures equivalent. So like Qs, we have the NASDAQ futures. The Russell, we have Russell futures. Dow, same thing.
Right.
So and options. So all those things have options, and if you get exercised, you're getting exercised with futures margins, not stock margins. So, for example, if you were exercised on a short put and you were long the S&P futures, the margin requirement would be somewhere around $13,000.
Okay. And
to kind of give you some perspective, the notional value of at current prices, at current 5,000 and change, you're looking at over $250,000 in notional value that you're controlling with 13,000.
Right.
Instead of having to have the full cash.
That's some leverage.
Yeah.
So when futures expire in the money, is that right word to say? Yeah, I guess. What do you get? Do you get something, or is it just settled in cash?
Well, it depends on the product. So some things are actually physically.
Yeah, with Tradier, you get a set of steak knives.
Oil.
You get a set of steak knives.
Oil futures. Yeah. You get barrels delivered to your house. I forgot about that.
You're delivered to Cushing in Oklahoma, but
that's important actually.
So
I forgot about that. That's kind of the reason oil futures went negative, because no one wanted to deliver the damn thing.
Right, and there was no storage, so
Wow.
that was another problem. So among many, but what we try to do is prevent that. So sure. if you guys aren't, if you as a trader aren't familiar with the expiration, we're going to try and get you out and have you roll over to the next contract.
Gotcha.
To avoid.
Yep. Does anyone take delivery in reality? I mean, especially a retail person. Is a retail person taking delivery of anything?
There are some high net worth folks who want to take delivery of like gold or silver and that sort of thing. And it's, like, are there advantages to it? It's hard to say. It's more, I would say, more common among hedgers, or hedging crops and that sort of thing. Those guys may want to take delivery.
Yeah. Or like cattle people,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That sort of thing. Yeah. Right.
They may have got a much better price in the futures market than they can in the spot market.
Right.
And so, they might want to deliver.
That means I got to go to Texas, get my cowboy hat, my boots. I'm going to start trading cattle futures.
Yeah.
You never know.
We've had some very successful agriculture traders and cattle, hog traders.
Right.
Yeah. My family's literally city slickers, but we actually bought the farm. So we bought a farm because my mom loved horses, and we knew nothing about agriculture, but we were surrounded by it. So we were sitting with a manual, like trying to mow something to plant like 4 seeds. It was ridiculous. I think we made the paper. Like, what are these guys doing here? Anyway.
That's hilarious.
So that's actually why futures were invented. About 100 years ago, the our economy was 95% agriculture. And so maybe a little bit longer than 100 years now, but pre-industrial revolution, that was the basis of our economy. And so to prevent economic catastrophe, if there's a bad rainy season or something, futures were invented. And it was people would sell the futures, and then if the market went down, they would make money on the futures trade. If the market went up, then they would just sell their crop, and but that was a way to kind of lock in prices back in
right. I got to believe that one of the real great applications of futures is in the energy sector, oil. Airlines have to use futures to hedge oil prices, right? I guarantee you they are. American Airlines, Delta, United. Right? Because they have such a massive fuel cost that they have to speculate a little bit on that price, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so some of the quarters were Southwest outperformed, all the other airlines was due to their energy trading. They just had better energy traders, and they were able to hedge that fuel cost and make profits on it as well.
That's great.
Yeah.
So it's a robust market, needless to say, right? Especially the oil market. I'm sure gold is super robust, right? The S&P's got to be crazy.
Yeah, S&P is the one of our highest volume products. Gold is popular, crude is popular, but the stock indexes are kind of the king in terms of volume.
Yeah.
It's really interesting with Ukraine getting buried under war bonds. They had to start. They were very tight knit for a long time, but now they're opening their resources like grain and oil, and so commodity prices. How do you think that will be affected if that occurs?
Yeah, I mean, great question. So there's a lot of countries that are, like Poland, for example, very, very upset about, Ukraine dumping, grain, soybeans or wheat or what have you, at, bargain basement prices. And, it's hurting their margins. So yeah, it definitely has effect. Definitely has effect.
Okay.
As does, Argentina and maybe places you didn't think about, like the UAE or
cool.
Yeah.
Molly, guess what?
Yeah. Is it? No.
Yeah,
it's not that time.
It is. We got to let Trey go work. Okay. He's got to go bye now. Okay.
All right, guys.
So Trey,
are those barrels of hay and corn behind you? I mean, like, what kind of lifestyle? Are you stockpiling things as a future? I mean, what is your lifestyle?
No, I'm just a normal person.
Your chair is gold. His chair is gold plated.
That's right. That's right. For sure. That's from delivery. He turned all his delivery into various things. So Trey Lazzara, head of Tradier Futures, coming soon. Can you give us a ballpark? End of May, maybe ish. We're not used to it, I promise.
Thinking ish, yeah. So probably end of May, we'll be ready to roll.
All right, good.
And Trey, can we give your phone number out? I know you're big on one-on-ones. I know you are. I've heard this.
That's right.
Watch interviews from him. He does great.
Yeah, 1-800 don't call me.
I'll be very accessible. Yeah, you guys call the main Tradier Futures number, and if I'm available, I'll speak to whomever.
Perfect.
All right. Thanks, Trey.
All right, good. Trey, thanks for coming on. We look forward to it, and we'll chat again. So we're gonna close her up. That's a closing bell, Mo. See ya.
All right, thanks, guys.
Cheers.
All opinions expressed by Tradier Hub contributors are solely the contributors' opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Tradier nor its affiliates and/or subsidiaries. You should not treat any opinion expressed by Hub contributors as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or to follow a particular strategy, but only as an expression of their opinion. The contributors' opinions are based on their own personal research, but neither Tradier nor its affiliates and/or subsidiaries warrants its completeness or accuracy, and it should not be relied upon as such. Any trades or positions discussed or referred to by contributors may or may not be actual live trades or positions. Such information is not intended to be financial or investment advice. Tradier Inc. is the parent company of Tradier Brokerage Inc. Tradier Brokerage Inc. and Tradier Inc. are separate entities with their own products and services. Securities products and services are offered through Tradier Brokerage Inc. Tradier Brokerage Inc. is an independent subsidiary of Tradier Inc. All rights reserved. Member FINRA SIPC.